All right, welcome everybody. This is the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss podcast. I'm Leslie M. Thornton, and today I have a special guest, Mirv, here with us. Mirv is a certified health and life coach, and she helps women look great naked, which I absolutely love. And the reason I invited Mirv onto the show today is because I actually saw a Facebook post that she posted that really was in alignment with the stuff that I teach a lot in my Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss course. And it really had to do with mindset. So I'm actually just going to read a couple of the paragraphs that really stood out to me about what Mirv wrote before I officially introduce her and say hello. So she says, I have never felt or looked as healthy as I do now, even when playing sports and building muscle. I think of my lifestyle as self-care, which has led me to stop thinking that I have to, but rather I want to. Lesson here is to learn to listen to your body with love and to make choices that align with maintaining a healthy home for your body. Before changing what you eat, change your mindset and the rest will come. And really quick, I just want to say, that's absolutely what I'm teaching every day to my people, that it's all about mindset, that it's really around, the way that you think about things, and then everything else after that just naturally starts to happen. So welcome, Mirv. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you for this beautiful introductory. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I would love to have you share a little bit. I know that post, we could elaborate on that. And I think that's part of your story, but about your story, because I know that you're talking, what was it? Fit to flab to fab. Is that what you said?
Yeah. It's fit to fat to fab. So my story, real quick, just probably like many stories, we all come from a lot of, pain and hurt and a lot of struggles as we're growing as females with our body image and being named so many things growing up, being bullied, being called, don't want to go through all the names. I'm sure you know them. So being fit almost my whole life, being in sports and being active and played CrossFit for probably like 5 years. I was always fit and I was always thinking that I was eating healthy, right? So again, when you think you eat healthy, you actually don't. So I thought I was eating healthy compared to my height and my weight. And I'm a fun size, I'm 5'2", so I'm not that tall. And it was kind of interesting to see that my life was connected to how I ate and how I reacted to the foods that I was eating, whether I was breaking out, whether I was feeling bloated, whether my energy levels were down. And so I ignored all these emotions of feelings because I just didn't know what they were, to be honest. I was kind of ignorant in that department. So then about 2 years ago, I kind of went through a depression. I hit rock bottom. I was living abroad in Dubai. I wasn't living in US at the time, and it had a lot to do with my career, changing careers, not feeling good enough, not having growth potential in the companies. And so that affected my mindset big time. I stopped loving myself. I thought I wasn't worthy enough. I thought I wasn't successful. I thought so many negative things about myself. So with my mindset being shifted to depression and negativity, it started to show on my physical appearance. So obviously I've gained the most weight I've ever gained in my entire life, being a fit person, right? And whoever met me at the time noticed the difference. And they were like, oh my God, Mirv, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Because it actually shows from the outside. And I did such a good job at hiding my depression by staying positive, because overall I'm a positive person. So I did so well at hiding that, and I played it so well that nobody kind of knew that I needed help or I was going through a depression. And so I finally decided to come home to US, be around my family and my friends, and kind of change my lifestyle a little bit. So I hit rock bottom, and I was like, whatever I'm doing is not working. I don't care about myself. I'm eating everything and anything. went back to those bad habits of emotional eating and binge eating and not giving, anything to do with my body image or type. Went back to how I grew up about you're not good enough, you're fat, you're thick, you're this, you're that. So everything else started to just flow with the depression and those negative thoughts. So when I moved back to US, I did not want to go back to corporate and go back to. I was in healthcare consulting at the time, so I didn't want to go back to corporate because I realized that corporate is not for me, not for someone like me, and I wanted to follow my passion. I always added value to people. I was always positive. I always wanted to change lives and to help people. And so I was like, why am I ignoring this intuition feeling of following my passion? What is so wrong with following a passion, right? So obviously around us, we live, we have the programming, the society around us, the religion, the culture, the parents, the grandparents, the sisters, brothers. It all affects how we live on a daily basis. And I think 80% of people live for people. They don't live for themselves. So I didn't want to be just another person living for someone. And I wanted to live for me and what makes me happy. Fitness makes me happy. Nutrition, fixing my nutrition makes me happy. Sports makes me happy. Helping people, adding value, seeing that smile on someone's face, changing someone's life. And so I was like, why not act on that? So I did my research for a long time when I moved back to US. And I wanted to become a nutritionist, and then I wanted to become a mindset coach, a success coach. Like I wanted to be everything. So obviously you and I know that you cannot be everything. You can't be a superwoman because you have to focus on one thing. And so I joined Health Coaching Institute to become certified health and life coach for me. I started with myself. I wanted to do it for me. I wasn't even thinking of a business at the time. I was like, I need to pick myself up. And there's nobody out there that's going to help me other than me, right? So I needed to shift that fixed mindset to the growth mindset. And we can talk a little bit about that. So the fixed mindset, obviously, I was always like, no, this is how I know how to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to come out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to change the way I think. And this is what I believe in. This is how I grew up. This is what my family taught me. I'm not going to change that. It's not me. I can't change that. And a lot of us go through this mindset of, this is who I am. I can't change, right? So I wanted to get all of that out of the way, all that BS out of the way, and be like, no, I want to go into the growth mindset. So I did a lot of, obviously, research and reading and podcasts and obviously studying the health coaching business for myself. And then I started to experiment on myself. I started to educate myself on nutrition. I had no idea while being fit and the way I was eating was not healthy. Just imagine while being fit, okay, muscles and all, like in shape, an athlete, but my nutrition was horrible. I was eating within moderation, but I was eating everything. So I had to educate myself on food, what sugar does to the body, what salty food does to the body, what lack of veggies and fruits and water and all those simple things that you grow up hearing. Oh, did you eat your fruits and veggies? Did you this? Did you that? And you're just like, oh, forget it. So I had to unlearn everything that I thought I knew growing up to learn all over again as an adult. And that's difficult because you need to reprogram your mind. You need to get rid of all that toxic beliefs that you grew up thinking that were right and update them with newer beliefs that you're studying or you're learning or you're actually seeing other people that have overcome their issues and their insecurities by following this path. So I had to do the same thing, learned all over again about nutrition, learned all over again about mindset. And like I said, I'm an ex-athlete, so I very much come with a strong mindset that nothing is impossible if you actually believe it and you put in the work. So I dug into a lot of things about myself, and I had my own breakthroughs going through the health coaching experience with myself. I cried a lot. I laughed a lot. I was like, this is insane. Like, what is going on with me? I'll be talking to someone, I'll just like, boom, start crying, right? And because it was all these emotions buried in there about your fear and your insecurities and not being good enough, and the sadness and anxieties and depression, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. And I learned not to resist these emotions. I learned to just let them flow, let them go, observe them, feel them. And once I did that, once I actually felt every single emotion, it really, really, really brought me to the next side of where I want to be. It really did. And I felt like, oh my God, it's all been in my head. And it's only in my head. It got nothing to do with my atmosphere. It got nothing to do with the fact that I was living in Dubai, or I was working in corporate, or I was being friends with like the wrong people, or being in toxic relationships. It had nothing to do with that. It was all in my head. I was forcing myself to be someone I'm not, basically. And I was following a path that did not come in handy with who I am. So I was kind of like doing stuff for other people, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So going through this whole transformation, as I call it, for we would say a year and a half, I was able to lose weight. I was able to maintain my weight. Usually I'm like into the quick fixes, and you know this obviously, because we've all been through it, the quick diets, the starve yourself this, the, oh, let me just eat one meal a day. Oh, let me like lose 5 pounds in 1 week by like just drinking water. So I was done with thinking that way, that fixed mindset of dieting and yo-yo dieting and emotional eating, to having that growth mindset of, let me learn how to eat, when to eat, why I'm eating the food that I'm eating, and how it makes me feel, and actually listen to my body. Like for me, carbs, for example, carbs makes me feel very bloated and lack of energy after. So carbs does not go well with me. Do I eat it? Yes, I do, within moderation. Do I cut it out of my diet completely? No. Like if I feel like I want to have a slice of pizza, I can. If I feel like I want to have a piece of bread, I'll do it. Pasta, fine. But I don't do it every single day like I used to, right? I used to do that every single day, thinking I'm an athlete. I need carbs all the time. I this and that. And that is true. You do need carbs, but then you can get your carbs from other fruits and veggies, of course. And so I learned the science behind the foods and how it makes me feel, how it makes my body feel. I was able to lose the weight that I gained within a short period of time, like let's say 6 months to a year. And not only lose the weight, but what blew my mind is maintaining my weight and being able to eat whatever I want. I always looked at those people on social media like years ago, and I'm like, how the hell do they stay so freaking perfect? And they're like holding a pizza or holding, a burger or whatever. So I just didn't understand that. And now I understand why. Because it all starts with a mindset, really. It's a matter of how you look at food. So instead of saying, oh, I had that pizza, oh my God, I feel like crap. I hate my life. I'm just going to, binge it out and continue eating unhealthy. So you go from that to, you know what? I'm going to have a slice of pizza and I deserve it. And why not? I've worked so hard. I eat super clean. So I think I deserve that slice of pizza. I'm going to have it. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy every single bite. And that's exactly what I do. And I try to fix that mindset and that relationship with food. So I went from that horrible feeling and relationship with food to this beautiful relationship with food. And I look forward to eating, and I love to eat, and I love to experiment with foods. And so that happened. And then the way I work out, I love fitness. Fitness is my therapy. it keeps me away from doing the wrong stuff, I guess, right? So I love fitness. I love to stay active, hiking, walking, running, biking, swimming, doing anything and everything. And just recently, this year, I guess I had this horrible lower back pain while we were in quarantine. So finally I got an MRI done and all of that. And it turns out that I have arthritis in my lower back. So I'm not able to do the things that I used to do before. And obviously the arthritis came from wear and tear on the body, on the lower back, because I did a lot of heavy lifting in CrossFit and I played sports my whole life. So I can see why this happened. But when the doctor said, you can't squat anymore, you can't do lunges anymore, you can't run anymore, like I was depressed for probably a day. And then I got over it. I was like, you know what? I can still at least walk. I can still bike. I can still swim. So I started to look at the positives in my life rather than the negatives. That, oh, you can't do squats and you can't lift and you can't. And that's fine. I don't want to go through that anymore. I don't want to lift. I don't want to do insanely amount of like heavy weights for my joints in my body. So I shifted my mindset about how I work out to maintain that positivity about fitness in my life and keeping that relationship with fitness a happy relationship. Not like, oh, now I have to do biking or I have to like swim and, you know, I would rather like squat. No, I changed my mindset and I was like, you know what, I can still do the things that I can do right now. And so with some physical therapy, with some like different like yoga movements and meditation and all of that, I was able to overcome the pain of my back, my lower back. And I love that I'm still able to move. I'm still able to move rather than thinking of the negatives, obviously turned it into the positive. So my mindset switched there as well with the fitness. And just thinking about anything, really, anything in life. Like there's this cycle of outcome, which I'm sure you know about, like how you have an event and let's say this event is a negative event, right? So you create the story behind this event. So this story is going to be a negative story. And then from that negative story that you created is going to come some negative feelings, right? So those negative feelings are going to turn your action step moving forward into a negative action step, rather than starting with an event in a positive, in a positive mindset and learning from those mistakes that you've done. And so like that post that you read, I meet a lot of people that say, oh, I wish I can go back and know what I know now. I could change this and I can change that. And obviously we all say that. And I'm sure I've said that before. And I'm like, you know what? I actually regret nothing that I've been through in my whole entire life. I regret nothing because it really made me who I am now. And if I had not gone through this depression, not working in Dubai, the whole career change, missing my family here in US, coming back to US. If I did not go through all of those negative things in my life, I don't think I would be where I am now. I don't think I would change my mindset to learning all over again in my adulthood on how to stay healthy and be active and turn my mindset into a growth a growth positive mindset rather than a fixed one. And I don't think I would have gone through all of that if I had everything handed to me either. I've never had anything handed to me. I had to work so hard for everything in life, and that's fine because I've learned from all my mistakes. And I guarantee you, every negative episode that you go through in your life or chapter that you go through in your life, you must learn one positive thing. You must. There's no way that you have learned nothing from your negative experience, whether it's relationships, work, food, depression, anxieties, losing someone even. So for me, every negative thing that I go through in life, I turn those negatives and weaknesses into positives and strength. And that's what makes me continue to be as awesome as I can be, because obviously our job is to help people as well. So when I worked on myself and I was able to actually practice what I preach, as we say, right? I was able to help myself because no one else can help me. I needed to help myself. It's all in my head, and I needed to change that. And if I didn't take that step in changing my life, I don't think anyone would have been able to help me. So I did that, and I was able to help me. And I feel and I believe and I have it in my blood that this is my calling. This is what I've always wanted to do. I just didn't know when, how, or where to do it. So I had to go through all of that to get to where I am now, to realize that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is to help people and add value and change lives. And most of my clients that I work with, or even before I work with them, they really have no idea. They have no idea what to do. Just like I had no idea what to do. I was looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I need someone to help me. I don't know what to do. How do I start? And when you ask, and I'm sure you do it with your clients too, is like when you ask your client, oh, so what do you eat? What's healthy eating for you? Oh, I eat 1 meal a day. I eat 2 meals a day. And to them, that's healthy. But to us, we know that's not healthy. And so it's really a matter of reaching out, putting ourselves out there to tell people that, hey, listen, hey, we exist, we're here. I know exactly how you feel because I've been through it. I know exactly where you are because I was there. I know exactly where to take you and how to take you to overcome those fears and to overcome that fixed mindset of yours. But only one thing I ask of you is to put in the work and to show up for yourself. Not for me, not for your family, not for your husband, your wife, for you. And then obviously the family comes next. But for you, show up for you and do something for you, because a lot of us are more of givers and we forget ourselves along the way. And we're like, oh, no, I got it. I'm okay. I'm okay. But you're actually really not okay. How many people you ask, you're like, hey, how are you today? And they go on and like start, vomiting words to you and telling you how horrible their day was. Probably a few, but most people would say, oh, I'm okay, when they're actually not okay. And so, and I work a lot with also feeling the energy of the person, because that's very important to like shift the energy of where they are and how they are and how, and where they want to be, because the energy really matters on your mindset as well. Like if you walk into a room and it's got, everyone is in a negative, sad, mood, you're going to feel that energy in the room. And you're going to be like, oh my God, like, why am I here? Opposed to walking into a beautiful energy room, everybody's happy and laughing and dancing and jumping. And they're like, yeah, life is good. You're going to switch off and your energy is going to like multiply. You're going to be like, oh my God, like I'm actually having so much fun in this room. So my experience with my transformation was like that. And I'm able to, I would say this, I'm at a weight now that I have not seen in probably 15 years. Even when I was athletic and fit, because obviously when I was athletic and fit, I had more muscle on me. Right now, I'm more toned. I work on a regular basis. I don't kill myself like I used to. So I'm like, oh, I need to get that hour in, a day or whatever. No, but I switched it up. I do yoga. I do meditation. I do mindset work. Mindset work is so important. It's like how we put our physical body into working out. We need to put our mind to working out as well, by doing meditation, by having quiet time, so I'm like an introvert at heart. I was always an introvert when I was younger, but then I wanted to overcome that and started to come out of my comfort zone. I trained myself to do these things because I didn't like where I was. I didn't want to be an introvert. I wanted to be out there. I wanted to ask questions. I wanted to approach people. I wanted to talk to anybody and everybody, opposed to having that fear. Oh no, I'm shy. I don't want to. What are they going to think of me? Oh, they're going to make fun of me. So even though I've been through so many mistakes in life and so many problems and getting like screwed over left, right, and center, that's fine, because I learned so much from those. So I'm at a point in life where nothing is impossible, and even if someone approaches me to talk to me about anything, I am open-minded to listen and not get offended or go into the defense mechanism or go back to that comfort zone feeling, right? I like to pick people's brains and minds and see where they're at, because we learn from each other and we'll learn from those people. So to me, I love talking to everybody, to everyone, and learning from one another. Even from my clients, I learn so much about myself from my clients, and vice versa, of course. They learn from me as well. And this makes us the best that we are at being happy, healthy, positive. And a lot of even my family and friends, they're like, oh, Mirv, you live in your own bubble. Like, what is going on up there in your head? And yes, this bubble of mine, this world of mine, didn't come in like handy. I worked so hard to get there, right? I worked so hard, excuse me, to get to that mindset that I'm in right now. And unfortunately, we are faced with a lot of toxic BS out there. We are faced with a lot of toxic and negativity around us. But you know what? It's how you see the world and how you look at things rather than how they're happening to you. Because a lot of us would be like, oh my God, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why again? Why did I lose my job again? Why am I gaining weight? Why am I... Instead of thinking why, and complaining, think, how can I fix that? Mm-hmm. How can I turn that into a positive thing? Why am I gaining weight? All right, let's see. Why am I gaining weight? Because I'm eating at 10 p.m. Because I'm not sleeping enough. Because I'm not exercising, right? Opposed to, oh, I ate healthy today. Why? I mean, I've been eating healthy for a week. Why aren't I losing weight? So always look at the why behind the why of why we do things. And this is why I got into what I do, because I wanted to study our behavior and see why we do the things that we do, why we binge on food. Why do we have that emotional feeling with food? Like when I'm depressed, I eat. When I'm happy, I eat. So I'm like screwed either way. So I wanted to find out why I do the things that I do. And that's when I started to dig into my programming, my childhood, my upbringing, the society I'm around. I moved from country to country because I wanted to change the place I was in, because it wasn't healthy for me. It was toxic. And it was very scary. It was very scary to do that, but I needed to do that. And I'm glad I did that, because I'm in a much better place where I am now in my life. And had I not done that and stayed where I was, I think I would have dug myself into a bigger hole, and I would have just stayed in my... So think about it this way. If you were to live today as like we say, like last day, what would you do that can change your life or change who you are? And really follow your intuition. And we're so good at ignoring our intuition because of the society we live in and the programming that we know. What would your intuition say? Get up there, quit your job, leave the country. Like, that's what my intuition said. Quit corporate. I quit corporate. Leave Dubai. I left Dubai. Come to US. I have no plan. I have zero plan. Did a research, got into health coaching to change my life. And then now I'm turning this into obviously a business. And it's been such a beautiful, joyful ride, because so many people need help and support, but they don't know how to start. And they're so scared to start because they don't believe in themselves. And that's what you and I are doing, is changing that mindset of people to believe in themselves and actually do things for themselves, not for anybody else. Because at the end of the day, you're stuck with your own self. You're stuck in your head. And there's no way that anybody out there will help you, because unfortunately people don't like to help. And they just would rather see you suffering, because it just boosts their ego. I mean, I don't know. So many factors go into that. But, and speaking of ego, put your ego aside and say you need help. Mm-hmm. Be vulnerable. Yeah. It's okay. If you're it's such a beautiful form of strength to be vulnerable and to say and ask for help, that many of us don't, because we have that ego of us that's stopping us from doing that. But it's such a beautiful form of strength to be vulnerable and to say, I need help. I messed up. What do I do? How do I fix it? Where do I start? But you have, and I believe, like, I can sit here from today till like next year talking about the same thing to someone that needs this help or services that we offer, but they're not going to go through it until they hit rock bottom, unfortunately, because they're not ready and they're scared to take that step, right? So I guess from like the 99% of people out there, maybe like 5% of those will actually act on it right away, opposed to the others that would take time and say, no, I don't want to invest in myself. It's okay. I'd rather invest in a vacation, or I'd rather invest in another job, or I'd rather invest in a Louis Vuitton bag or something, right? Opposed to investing in myself. But they have no idea when they invest in themselves, they're going to be so much better, and they're going to have these tools that they can use for the rest of their lives, and be maintaining that basically with their positive outlook of life. So yeah, that's exactly where my transformation, how it started, and where it did not end, because I'm still continuing with my transformation and growth mindset. And actually, I love challenging myself, and we just talked about this before, about me winning the challenge of posting videos. I love challenging my mind and body. I challenged myself back in December 2019, before the pandemic started. I went away on a silent meditation retreat for 10 days. Silent. And I'm a person that loves to talk, loves to meet people. But I went on a 10-day silent meditation retreat. No social media, no phone, not even looking at people's eyes, eye contact, not even talking to your colleagues, not even journaling, not even exercising. And I was ready to do it. And I obviously mentally prepared myself a couple months before to be ready for that 10-day silent meditation retreat. So I went through it, and it was the best thing I've ever done. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I almost gave up probably the 7th, 8th day in. My mindset, like my mindset was mentally gonna become like checked out a little bit, but then I had to align myself and ground myself and talk to myself and be like, no, wake up, stay focused, because you came here for a reason. I just had to surrender. I had to be vulnerable. I had to speak to myself a lot, obviously. And I was able to continue the journey and finish those 10 days. And it was the best thing I've ever done, obviously, in 2019. If you were to ask me a year ago, would I ever do that? Absolutely not. But the fact that I actually put myself through that challenge for my transformation was the best thing ever. And that taught me so much about myself. It taught me patience, and it taught me focus. It taught me how to be happy and positive, and not to react over negative emotions and thoughts, or even positive emotions and thoughts. Like, you meet a lot of people, I'm sure, that are very impulsive, right? When they're happy, they take that action. When they're sad, they take that action. And then they regret what they did. So it taught me patience, to sit in my thoughts and think about them, because it all affects the way you live your life, the way you think of food. Even food, we had like 2 meals a day and like one snack. And I was like, oh my God, 2 meals a day? What am I going to do with this? But it was more than enough, the 2 meals a day. Obviously, I learned this like probably like the 3rd, 4th day. 2 meals a day was more than enough. And it was vegan food, no dairy, no meat. And I was like, I need my meat. I need my protein. This is crazy. But I obviously was getting that through other foods. And again, I just learned so much about my body and the food and the meditation and the silence and sitting in your thoughts. And I struggle with focus and ADHD as is. Like, I'm always like, all over the place. but it actually really, it was so difficult to just align myself and focus and just to kind of like cut everything around you, like, you know, those crazy thoughts that come and go. And that's fine when they come and go. That's fine. You're supposed to observe them and think about them and let them go. And so that challenge was beautiful and amazing. And I would very much love to do it this year if they still offer it, obviously. And I recommend anybody and everybody to challenge their mind and body and to do things that they never thought they would do. They never thought they would do, because that's how you learn about yourself. And that's how you get out of the fear that you live in. If you think that you're not good enough. Who told you you're not good enough? Oh, yeah, okay. The programming, the way I grew up. Okay, fine. But what makes other people good enough and you're not good enough? And then go into this whole exercises about self-love and looking at yourself in the mirror, as cliche as it sounds, and tell yourself that you do love yourself, you are proud of yourself. And even when you mess up, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you messed up. Don't ignore it. We're so good at ignoring the fact. So acknowledge that you messed up. Acknowledge that you binged out. Acknowledge that you had like carbs all day. Acknowledge that you had sweets all day. That's fine. Be mindful. Be mindful. Be in the moment. And once you start to think that way, you're gonna slowly start to transition into this growth mindset. And obviously reprogramming your mind, like removing those toxic feelings and thoughts, and reprogramming your mind into those positives and strength that you want to think about. And it's like, I tell my clients this, it's like, instead of you're on autopilot, you get in the car in the morning and you get out of the driveway, you make a right. Instead of doing that every single day, let's work on making a left. Mm-hmm. Right? Let's work on making a left and see what other opportunities and options and emotions you feel and you see along the way. No, I'm not used to making a left. I know my way to the right. I'm going to go straight to the right, and that gets me to where I know. Okay, fine. But let's try the left. Let's go to the left just one time and see where that takes you. Right? And that's what I tell my clients, because that's how they have to think about it. And it's been a success so far, honestly. It's very uncomfortable for them. Yeah, it's been a success because one step at a time. It's like baby steps. Like, how many times does a baby fall when he's trying to walk? It's very simple. How many? 1,000, 1,000,000 times. Does he give up? No. He's gonna cry. He's gonna nag. He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna bleed. Is he gonna stop? He's not gonna stop. He's gonna continue to get up and walk again. And that's exactly what we need to do in our adulthood. Like, why do we let all these issues, come in front of us and just tell us you're not good enough? You can't do that. It's like there's this one thing that I heard from Jay Shetty, one of his podcasts, and I loved it. He talks about how we walk around with a big garbage bag, and we keep throwing issues and fear and hurt and pain and trauma. Every time something happens, we throw it in that bag, opposed to communicating, talking about it, sitting in it, being mindful, asking why it's happening, trying to fix it, trying to go around it. So we keep throwing it in that bag. So what's going to happen to the bag at the end of the day? It's going to explode. It's going to rip, right? It's going to rip, and that's how us humans deal. We just take so much in and keep it in. And honestly, I was that person growing up. I was an introvert, zero emotions, zero communication skills, and I was like, no, yeah, this is what I know. This is how I grew up. This is all I know. But I felt like this is wrong. Something's wrong. Why is someone else happy, talking about their issues, talking about their emotions? Why can't I do that, right? So I tried to switch that and change that for me. I don't want to have that big garbage bag carried with me, which is, that garbage bag is our mind, really. carrying all this toxic crap in my mind, I don't want it. I want to get rid of it. I want it out. Out. So it's been out, and every time new toxic stuff comes in, I know very well how to handle it and how to deal with it. And life is just going to continue this way, because unfortunately life is not perfect, right? We live in a very imperfect life. But my life is my journey, and it's never going to end to where it's supposed to end. It's only going to evolve, and I'm only going to learn. I'm only going to continue to grow. And the same thing that I left for other people to do. If I can just tell them this, that continue doing what you're doing, but learn from your mistakes rather than hold them inside and think that you deserve to keep those mistakes. Because we are so caught up with living in this perfect mentality that we want to be perfect all the time. And you and I learned this from someone that done is better than perfect, right? Done is better than perfect. And I didn't know what that meant until I actually did it. I was like, no, I always want to, put myself out there, and I always want to do videos, but then I don't look perfect. My hair is not done. I don't have makeup on. I'm not dressed up, so I shouldn't. And honestly, when I put myself out there in those videos, I got a few comments from friends and family that, oh, shouldn't you dress better or put makeup on? And that's because we're all looking for perfection. We're all looking for perfection. And I was like, you know what? I really don't care. I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing something. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking to put myself out there, because that's a struggle. Exactly, because that was a struggle for me, absolutely. So I did it, and I was like, oh my God, I can actually put myself out there. It's all in my head. It's really all in my head. And then obviously little by little, you start to transition into done better than perfect to making it perfect the way you see it. It's not going to be perfect ever, 100% perfect, but it's going to be perfect for you, right? And it's like one of these cliche things, like, oh, it's not you, it's me, right? It's not you, it's me. Or, oh, I see you perfectly fine in my eyes. And it's all connected to the same stuff at the end of the day. So that's what I would tell people, is to dig into what's holding them back, what's keeping them stuck in their lives, to take that action now, because you deserve it. Why continue living that cycle of, oh, it's okay, it's not for me, oh, I'm not ready, oh, I'm too lazy, oh, I don't want to, oh, I'm scared. Why not take that action and see where you get? Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, every door that closes, 1,000 other doors open up in front of you. 1,000 other doors, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And that's speaking from experience. Yeah, so.
I love it, Mirv. So amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And every step of the way, your journey is awesome. Just from the traveling to a different country, right? Being out of your comfort zone in that way. I also did the same thing. I felt like energetically I couldn't grow where I was anymore, where I grew up, and made that move, but then taking away the support system of the family and that kind of stuff. And of course I had friends and all that kind of stuff, but the stress was higher, and I gained a bunch of weight when I was away. And then making that decision, I love that you act on inspiration, that you have completely changed your mindset, right? And we're able to see it's all the way that I view the world, and able to flip all of that stuff around. It's exactly what it is. And it's interesting because you have a little bit mentality around the eating and stuff. And it makes sense to me because you came from a very fit background of sports and all of that kind of stuff. And so you probably could eat more of what you wanted and had those beliefs of carb loading and all that kind of stuff. And then the weight gain. So you had to learn later in life about nutrition and all of that kind of stuff. And it's interesting because most of my clients come from a background where they've already been educated on all that kind of stuff, but they're too obsessed about that. So it's they have to, their left turn instead of the right is let go of all of the, what the scientific facts are about nutrition. Not everybody, but it's kind of wherever a person's norm or comfort zone is, or whatever way they are raised, oftentimes can be the reason why they're having pain and suffering in the current moment with the area of health that they're working on. And so we have to get past some of those fear thoughts of like, oh my God, if I eat a piece of pizza, I'm going to die, because here's the science that proves what happens to the body and all of that kind of stuff. And trust me, I know everything that can happen to the body, right? And that was what was causing me a lot of my pain and suffering, because I was just so terrified of gaining weight, or so terrified of, getting a disease or cancer, inflammation in my body, right? So having to just get past some of those fears. And I know when I interviewed Hannah that she was saying, just going through the drive-through and getting a hamburger and fries was like the scariest thing, right? So a lot of the stuff that I coach on is more like just let all that stuff go, and then later when you're in a more peaceful, balanced place with yourself on a foundational level, then you're able to make empowered choices. Or maybe, and this is what I love about your journey as well, is that you educated yourself on nutrition, not because you were scared of what was going to happen if you didn't, or I'm not good enough, or I'm a failure. You did it because you were actually genuinely inspired by that. It was something that made you happy. And something that I know from doing this work for a long time is that following your joy and doing what makes you happy no matter what. So when I was actually in India and I was getting away from diet mentality of this should be like this, and just 3 years of just no sugar, no flour, 3 meals a day, like all of that structure, right? Which obviously caused me to lose weight. It caused me to have, energy. It caused me to lose, all the things, and I was trapped in my brain because I wasn't making that decision from an empowered place for myself. I was doing it because I was told that if I didn't do this, I was going to go all the way down the rabbit hole, and I had an addiction to sugar and all of these things, right? And because I so much latched onto that belief, it made me scared to take any action. I couldn't have a piece of pizza without completely binging, right? I never even had a binging thing until I started following that strict program. All of a sudden, I started doing these weird behaviors and binging and being scared and like can't stop getting out of the 7-Eleven as I'm traveling. It was weird. It was scary. It was like, what's happening?
Yes.
So knowing that mindset, any action that we take from a place of fear is going to keep us absolutely stuck in that place, and it's going to make the problem even worse. Like you're saying, the garbage bag, eventually it's going to burst. Right.
Yes.
So I'm in India and I make this decision to go into the intuitive eating path and really give myself permission to just face my fears and get past all of that kind of stuff. And I gained a bunch of weight super fast because I was committed to allowing myself to actually do and eat the things that was going to bring me joy and that I desired. So there was a part of me that was making up for lost time of 3 years of never having any of that stuff. I probably broke it in 3 years, maybe 10 to 15 times maximum of ever going past these strict rules. But I just kept in this alignment of faith of like, I will bleed, I will break my knee, leg, I will, the same way a baby of whatever, and do the mindset work to get me out of this diet mentality, because I'm done with this. I'm committed to living a life of joy. I'm committed with having a body that is authentic to me, a lifestyle that's authentic to me, a way that makes me feel happy and joyful every day, and eating in a way that makes me feel good, and including whatever it is. So a lot of my stuff is not teaching people about, this is good or bad or healthy or not healthy, because we know all of that stuff already. Right. And it's more like, let's break away and just get the mindset straight. And then you can actually feel into your body, which I heard you also say, and be able to make an empowered decision like, oh, and maybe you don't want to choose the pizza because you don't want to feel a little bit groggy after. But you would never even know that if you're not eating pizza, you're eating guilt and shame. Right. Because this is a bad thing. So I love absolutely everything that you're saying. And I just really commend your path of just self empowerment as a woman, and just kind of putting your blinders on and saying, I'm living for me. Right. And it's hard as somebody who cares a lot about other people. All the people that I work with, they just so care about other people. They put their families first or whatever, but everything starts to work when you put yourself first. Would you agree?
Oh my God, yes. Because I'm like your clients. I always put everyone before me. I'm the last person to think about. And then I started to appreciate and love myself more and be like, let's try something new here. I deserve that too.
Absolutely. I love that you're so action oriented. Like, you got to take an action. You got to say yes for yourself. You got to put in the work. And that's, a big premise of this podcast, even in my intro, like, you have to take action. You have to ask for help. You have to make a change, like, because it's like nobody's coming. Like, and I really appreciate when you're saying that people wait until they hit rock bottom, you know. And it's like when we're aware of, oh, like on the pathway of mastery with the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset of, okay, and can this area improve? Could I have more freedom with my way of eating and my way of living? You know, could I have more flexibility with these kinds of things? Could I have more enjoyment on a day-to-day basis versus let me wait until I get into a deep, dark depression? You know, and a lot of my clients, they've experienced death in the past. They've experienced loss. They've experienced, you know, all these things, and they are finding themselves in that place. And it's like, okay, you know, like, can we get that before it gets to that? But if not, then let's go back and resolve some of those past grievances. You know, I just worked with a guy this morning and like stuff with his dad, you know, back in the past, and he's 8 years old and dad didn't care about me as much as he talked to other people. Right. It's just like, we have shame about these things because it's like, oh, that's dumb. Like I should just be over that. I'm this many years old now, but it's not dumb.
Right.
It's in your trash bag. It's in your trash bag, and we got to deal with it.
Exactly.
Dad even passed away, you know, and we're still able to deal with it. And he was somebody who constantly is thinking about this is the right food to eat. He did powerlifting in the past. He did, right, like all of the things. He did CrossFit, I think. He did all the things. He knows all about the macros and the micros. He knows all the things, you know. But just knowing all the things, he was no connection with his body and his emotions. And like you said, letting those emotions just flow.
Yes.
Being with them all. And so we went through a body. I do a lot of subconscious healing work. And so going into his body and having a imagination conversation with his dad, right? And letting those emotions just kind of be there. And then afterwards I was like, okay, so how do you feel about, you know, your weight and your food plan right now? And he's like, I just don't care about that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, and his mantra that he came up with himself was let it go. You know, so just like, that's the invitation. Just let it go. Just let it go. Mirv, I'm so glad that you're here today. Thank you so much. How can people find you?
Me too. Thank you so much, Leslie, for having me. People can find me on, we can go through Instagram since that's happening at Healthy with Mirv. And you can go on my website at www.mirvatkatib.com, my full name. And just, you know, say hello. You have any questions, holler. Like, listen, we're here to help you reach your goals. We're here to answer any questions you have. And we do it with love and passion.
I love that. So beautiful. I know there'll be people who definitely resonate with your story and they'll be ready to reach out. So we'll be looking for you that way. And then if anybody would like my weight loss training, or you're wanting to look into how you can get started with the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss program, you can go to lesliemthornton.com/weight loss training, or you can email me today at coachmeleslie@gmail.com and we'll get you started. Mirv, thank you again so much, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Have a great day. Thanks.